Deep cranking, folks. So one thing you'll notice, I kind of do this different probably than most people. Or I don't know if I do it different than most people. When I deep crank, I actually sweep the rod kind of like a Carolina rig. And the reason I do that is because A, I can kind of feel the rocks and stuff a little better. When you're constantly grinding on the reel and stuff, it's like you can't really feel what the rod's doing as much. But also I can do this all day long and it doesn't really tire me out as much. Deep cranking. Probably 3, that's a fat one there. Boop, boop. So all I'm doing with this jig is I'm just hitting those rocks, 3/4 ounce jig. Bop bop on the rocks when they pick it up. Bump them. Swing hard with a jig. I mean, just pound them. It's not like a crankbait, you know. I just kind of sweep into the crankbait. With a jig, you want to really pound them just like that. Dude, I am tearing it up today. Huh? We're smoking her today, man. This fish guy could have swung this one in. It was so hooked so well. Huh? This is just I'm not picky. A lot of dudes are picky about jig trailers and all that stuff. I just throw whatever. I don't really care, man. This is a small E beaver reaction innovation. Good enough. I mean, I'm not super picky. You know, I kind of, certain colors I care about, you know, like I usually use green pumpkin, or if it's dark out, or, you know, then I'll use black and blue, but for the most part, you know, I haven't really noticed that one jig trailer gets pounded more than another one. I just feel like it's where you're putting the bait and how you're wiggling it, you know, is the most important thing. So, we're going to see another one out here on the sledge. Hopefully get a big one. I had hooked a couple of big ones on the crankbait and it came off. Yes! Yes! I caught a freaking catfish on my jig. Woo-hoo! That is so awesome. I love it. Hopefully we'll get like a 40-pound blue or something. That would be awesome. Ah, there's another one. Woo! That felt like a good one. Sadly. That's one. I'm not gonna horse this one. Oh, it's pulled in. Should be pulled in. It's awesome when you figure out where they're at, isn't it? Don't tell me that one came off. That one pulled off too. I had my drag so loose on that one. I'm going to show you guys how I got this set up. You can see my truck's a mess, and I've got a plant growing back here. That's my lucky plant. Let's see how big he gets. I'm going to see if I can get him above the cab. But anyway, I've got, this is 3/4 HDPE, and it's a flat surface. The contoured one that came on the boat, I didn't really like it, or at least I didn't want to mount a trolling motor to it. So this is real robust. I've screwed it down. I just screwed it into the frame. I've got stainless steel screws in there, just holds it on. Everything's great. I've got a removable bracket for my XI3. So this is the XI3. It has GPS. The reason I went with that instead of like a Torpedo or something is I want the GPS. I want to be able to sit on location on ledges. I want to be able to use the different steering things. I want to be able to get, you know, potentially a graph with the NMEA network that lets me hook all that stuff up. And so that's one thing I did. I've got a Raymarine Dragonfly. Okay, so that's my graph that I use. Me personally, I just use a graph to find offshore structure. I don't really use it to look for fish. So I just find the structure, and then I run my bait till I find the fish. So let's see, I've also changed the back deck. So I've got a 1/2 inch HDPE back here. And the reason I made this, I changed this deck is because there's about 6 inches of unused space back here. So I made my deck a little bit longer. And that way my kid can sit back here. Before, you know, he was bumping into the seat here, but now he can sit on this behind me, and there's enough room. Before there wasn't enough room. So I made this little aluminum battery bracket, and I actually tied that into the frame here. And so the reason I did that is because since the trolling motor's fairly heavy up front, I wanted to counterbalance it with some weight in the back. So that's why I made this. It goes up over the rudder. I can still use the rudder just fine, but actually I don't ever use it. I just use the trolling motor. I never even use the pedals or the rudder, you know. I guess if one day I get stranded out there, I will. But so I've got that. I've got the Minn Kota battery box. I put my GoPro right on here. Actually, it's not a GoPro. It's a Osmo Action. I got the DJI Osmo Action. I like it way better than the GoPro. So, but anyway, I've got a mount here. That's where I connect that. And what's cool is I can just run battery to this, you know, cigarette lighter deal. So I've run power on that all day long. I mean, I shoot 2.7K, 30 frames a second on my DJI for like 3 hours straight. I just did. So in this battery box, I have a Battle-Born 100 amp hour lithium battery. It's lightweight. I mean, I ran this thing for 3 hours non-stop with a trolling motor, mind you. So I used it to navigate long distances over the lake on high speed. I can get around 5 miles an hour on this thing. And I also use it, the anchoring, all the time. I use it 100% of the time. I'm using the trolling motor. So it still says full after 3 hours of going with that XI3 52-pound thrust trolling motor. It's still full. So I've got some anchor poles here. You can see I've got a Power Pole Micro, and then in the front here I just drilled a hole so that I can stick a front stake in there. So I got 2 stake out poles. I got a Yak Attack one and the one that came with the Power Pole. That's the only thing I use this for. I don't like it for my rods because your rods slide back and forth and the guides bang against this and it jacks up your guides. So what I actually installed on here, and I don't have these set up yet because I just got to shore, but I've got one of these deals. So I don't even know who makes this. I just got it at Walmart or something. It's one of these foam ones. But what's cool is it's 1.5 inches. These screws are like 2 inches apart or something, so they fit exactly right on the sides of that. So I actually screwed them into that metal plate on both of these, and then, you know, that way it securely holds my rods, and I don't have to worry about them banging against stuff. You know, I don't like the one. Actually, I usually do. I got these all jacked up. I just got done fishing, so usually I do the center one like this. that. And then I do the, you know, two like this. Boop. And that's how I transport it. They hold them. It holds them perfectly fine. They don't get, the guides don't get jacked up. And so then I run the wire through the hole. I use one of those Hobie Haida wires. I don't know what they're called. Hobie deals. Going to that. And that's pretty much it. You know, I use this for my tackle storage. This is a Civalis cooler that I strap down just with a regular old strap. I can fit a lot of tackle in there. I just chain this puppy to my seat. That's to control my trolling motor. And man, this is a fishing machine. I ain't kidding. I was smoking them today on this thing. I love it, yeah.